Hello, 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 Chicago Bears fans. Welcome to the Bears Den podcast number 83. As always, we have a great show lined up for you guys tonight. We're going to talk about what was the NFL draft, and the NFL draft. As always, please like us, follow us, subscribe to us, share our content, show us some love. You can find us on Facebook, X, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Now, let me bring out the rest of the stars of the show. I am your host, Andy. We are joined by the legendary, the one and only Todd tonight.
Hey.
And, of course, the bad guy, the champ, Chicago Clarence. So, guys, let's get into it. The draft has come and gone. And for the most part, the experts are saying Chicago Bears did very well. The reason our grade isn't higher is because we didn't add to the defensive line. That was really the only negative I read from most of the draft experts. So, Todd, before we get into each individual pick, what did you think overall of our draft?
It's up and down for me. I think that I expected some wild cards with Ben Johnson. I expected that I would have been content to take 4 defensive players in the first 4 picks, but I just knew that wasn't going to happen. But I'm more curious to hear what Clarence has to say. So I'm going to defer some time here and maybe come back to you.
I already know his blood pressure is going. I saw the medicine bottle. He had to move it because he had to take some blood pressure medication. But go ahead, Clarence.
Well, watching the draft, I was wondering if we were just sitting there picking names out of our hat to make our selections. It absolutely made no sense to me. And I know people want to sit there and laud the fact that we took the second best safety and it was a need. But let me throw some numbers at you. The Chicago Bears in 2026 had the 29th total yards allowed defense per game. In team. 23 points allowed. 27th in rush defense. We were 29th in passer rating. We were 22nd on third down with 40.8% of our opponents converting on third down. That's almost half of their third down attempts they converted. That is a lot. So with that said, everything begins up front. And you don't address your 2 biggest needs. That's edge rusher and that's third technique. We did not do anything to help our ability to improve our ability to stop the run. And when you got the quarterbacks converting at such a high clip against you, it doesn't matter who's on your back end of your defense. I don't care if you got 2 all-pro safeties back there. If you can't stop the run, if you can't get to the quarterback, then guess what? Teams are going to convert on third down. And you're not going to be able to improve being the 29th best total defense in the league when there's only 3 teams worse than you are on total defense. So we can forget about the fact of we talking about, we throwing all these legendary numbers of being so good at taking the ball away, because without that, if we don't get turnovers, usually that means you lose. I don't care how good our offense is supposed to look like. We got to be able to stop people. And us not really addressing that is what really pisses me off, because it was a glaring weakness for this football team. It's what's going to hold us back.
Yeah, I was stunned that we didn't address the defensive line. I mean, most of the draft experts had us taking like Zion Young. They had us taking Katie McDonald. I mean, most experts had us taking defensive line. I mean, that was our glaring weakness. I think it's a bad idea to go into the season and expect Shamar Turner and Deo to produce.
Well, that's
they both are coming off.
That's
they
what
both
they're
are coming off injuries. That's my problem. I don't like counting on guys who are coming off injuries. And what makes anybody think Deo can produce? He was given 9 games last year. He gave us 1 sack, I think 11 pressures.
He wasn't producing before he got hurt. He wasn't producing. I mean, we're paying him like he's our answer. but he wasn't producing before he got hurt.
I mean, supposedly they love Shamar Turner. I'm sure the Bears already know
that's
these guys will be ready to go first game. I'm sure they already know that. But, I mean, and they're counting on Booker to ascend, which out of all three scenarios, I think Booker ascending is most likely because he was getting it done at the end of the season.
Yeah, I expect Booker to be decent, and maybe they'll let Hardy play some too. So, I mean, between those guys and potentially Deo, really it's going to be Booker and Turner are going to be the keys. If they can play, then this won't be that big a deal, at least from the edge. They're putting a lot of faith in Neville Gallimore, I can tell you that.
But he's a run stopper more than anything.
Yeah,
and that's fine. If he stops the run,
he better
I'm all
be.
for it.
He better be.
I'm all for him stopping the run.
Yeah, they.
But I just don't like the plan of, well, we're getting Shamar Turner back, we're getting Dale back, Booker's ascending. You're counting on 2 injured players. Like that's a thin plan, to say the least. And guys, before we get into the individual picks, let me ask you something, Clarence. We talked about this in the pregame. Ben Johnson, Ryan Poles, whose draft room is it now? Who runs the show? Because to me, I'm not saying Ben Johnson runs the show 100%, but I would go out on a limb and say there's no way that man got hired if he didn't have a lot of say, a lot of pull in that draft room. Who do you think is running the show in that draft room?
The picks are telling you that Ben Johnson has a real loud voice in that room. And,
Yes.
Based on what happened last year, I mean, I really don't mind it to a certain degree. But we got to be true to both sides of the ball.
Right.
And, you can't just sit there and say, because the Bears have so much money committed to Jalen Johnson and Montez Sweat and other members, Gordon, that we are being committed to the defense because we have it. Because you went out there and threw a whole lot of money at Grady Jarrett and Dio. You want me to believe that you really care about giving this defense what it truly needs? Because that's not right. I mean, that's just not working. We saw it last year. The Chicago Bears, year in and year out, have been a team that you can totally say is going to give it to you on defense. We ain't been that team since Ryan Poles has been there. He was unwilling to even address the offensive line up until last year because so much hell was being raised at it. When are you going to learn? It starts in the trenches, and it's on both sides of the ball. You have got to stop teams from running it on you.
Yeah,
we got to properly address that.
The Johnson money and the Kyler Gordon money isn't the money that's a problem. It's the Grady Jarrett and the Deo money, and that money's gone after this year. So, to look at and say, hey, we've paid these guys and we made a trade for Sweat. We've invested here. Dexter was a fairly high pick, and then Turner last year hit injury, so that's really not his fault. But so we've tried at this position, and we've committed these resources. We need to not bleed any more money there, which will be fine going into next season. But this year, I guess that's the way they were looking at it. Plus, the defensive tackle group wasn't great. I do think McDonald was great as a run stopper, and that's our biggest problem. So that hurt a little bit. But just his athletic score with what they did and what they've shown, they were just – I don't know that they take him in the second round. I mean, that's just – they're sticking to their plan. I mean, they said that their board was small, right? I mean, they talked about that. These are our guys. We're specifically looking for these things. And I don't think any of those guys were on there. I mean, I like Christian Miller a lot. I think he would have been probably a better fit because he would have had a little bit of push. But I don't think they tried to trade up at all in that second round. And they weren't going to be able to touch any of those guys. They were all on the board at 1. Right. None of them were going to be on the board at 57. And I think they were committed to Logan Jones 100% there. So really 60 was going to be the first. And they were wiped out. I mean, Dominique Orange and that nose that the Packers got. What's
Banks.
his name?
No, I'm sorry.
I think it was in the next round. I think it was in the third round. Hang on, I'll tell you. Those are about the only guys that were still on the board that was going to make any sense.
Gerald Jackson is who you're talking about?
Chris McClellan out of Missouri.
Yes.
And Dominic Orange won at 82. So McClellan won at 77. So those guys were still in play, but I don't know. I don't know that they would have taken him at 89. I mean, we took Xavier Thomas, who a lot of guys had as a 6th or 7th rounder, maybe kick return, punt return only, at least out of the gate. Supposedly hands aren't great, but he runs a 4.28. So, you got if you didn't hit the athletic score that they wanted, they weren't going to draft you. Didn't matter what the spot was.
I'm glad you brought that up, Todd. We reportedly had the most athletic draft class, according to Next Gen Stats. We drafted some athletes.
I mean, the kid that they drafted in the 6th round, Vandenberg.
Yeah.
I mean, his numbers were ridiculous.
Yeah.
He was available at the very end of the 6th round. I mean, maybe they're smarter than everybody else. I just that annoys me. The whole smartest guy in the room thing. I've never liked that. It's always worked for teams like the Eagles or the Rams. They pull these guys out of nowhere. Maybe we can do something.
Yeah, those guys know what they're doing. They got a history of proving that they know what they're doing. We ain't there yet. Well, I mean, we're not. And I can understand if we had a board and we wanted to stick to it. That's fine by me. But then why didn't you address it in free agency? Why didn't we try to get a trade to help plug some of these holes that we know we have? So we could have did something differently. Because drafting McDonald there would not have been a problem. Nobody was going to frown at that. Because 3 technique is your biggest need, in my opinion. Biggest need. And that need should have trumped safety.
I mean, well, I'll defend that pick. He fell
let's go
to
ahead,
us.
Todd.
How? I mean, how?
He's a 4.3 guy. He'll hit you. Everybody loved this kid. I mean, I didn't see a negative thing on him at all, through the whole thing. And he shouldn't have been there. The Panthers should have never let him get by. He should. I was dreading the fact that he was going to be a Viking. We're going to face him all the time.
Yeah,
now, I'm thrilled with this pick. You almost. I mean, in my mind, you had to make it. Like, this player fell to you. It's the only position we had starters. On the defensive front, we didn't have a starter at one of our safety spots. I mean, the only true, I think Logan Jones is a starter before the season's over.
He will be
the only guy day one, and Logan Jones could be a day one starter, but the only day one starter we got out of this group is Thiedemann. I mean, he's going to play, he's going to start, and I think he's going to be effective.
Well, I don't.
Here's my problem with that. If your safety. The fact that they can line this guy up in the box so he can come down and hit you, fine, well, and good. But if teams are being tackled by your safety, that's the problem. You know why? Because that means the running back is at the 3rd level of your defense. So whoever's running the ball is rushed for 7-8 yards before they even get hit. People are going to run the ball down your throat. That's the reason why I didn't want a safety. We needed somebody on the defensive line to help stop the run. Don't even matter how good he is, because if he's in the mix on getting tackles, it's a problem.
Or maybe, I mean, they added 4 players on the defensive line. Now, Vandenberg was a 6th-round pick, but they added Gallimore and they paid him. He has guaranteed money, so he's got to make the team. I don't know if both Street and James Lynch make the team, but they brought those guys in and they at least gave them contracts. So I think maybe hopefully they can maybe Gallimore can take over that.
He should start beside Dexter. He should be the run stuffing defensive tackle.
I think that Grady Jarrett should be on a snap count at his age.
Yes.
So I think that's probably
in a rotation.
Yes.
So if he can hold down that old billing spot, the billing spot that was solid up until this last year, and guys age out, and more power to him. I know he's got a deal and he's still in the league, but he wasn't effective last year. So if Gallimore can do that, and then you can bring in Grady Jarrett on 3rd down to try to penetrate and get in the backfield, that type of thing, then maybe we hold that spot over for another year. with they paid those guys really Deo, but you kind of have to put it in the Grady Jarrett Deo thing. I think that they put too much. They put Grady had to play too many snaps last year.
Yes.
That wasn't really the plan for him. I don't think at his
No.
age that shouldn't have been the plan for him.
So the reason I like the pick is because it gives Dennis Allen two safeties that he loves that are interchangeable. Because now our defense can disguise themselves a little bit. You don't know which one is going to be the strong and which one is going to be the free safety. And they can both play both.
Right.
So now they're both interchangeable. Now, it's not going to help our defensive line, but I don't think for 1 minute Ryan Poles thought Thieneman was going to be there. I think he was shocked.
Yeah,
I did not think Thieneman was going to be there.
I think that you have to make the pick. I think if he wasn't there, then the move is maybe to try to trade back. Everybody else behind us was able to do it. But I think once it became clear that he was going to be there, that you quit making those calls because all the teams behind us was able to go back a little bit. I don't know what the 49ers are doing, but they got back in the second round and then took that wide receiver that we were interested in, maybe the fourth. But it was a bad draft as far as quality talent. And Thieneman was probably a top 12 player in this draft, honestly, and probably had a true first round grade. And a lot of those guys in the first round didn't have a true first round grade. I mean, like the Panthers, they took a flyer on Freeling, who might be great, but might be nothing, and that's just that's the way this draft was.
So let's move on to our second pitch, Chicago Clarence. What do you think of Logan Jones, center out of Iowa? ESPN had him as the 99th best player. We took him at 57.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that pick? Now, reportedly, he's a scheme fit, exactly what we need and what Ben Johnson loves.
My question is, would we have picked him if our other center hadn't retired?
No.
And so this is a pick that we made for future needs.
Mm-hmm.
It really and truly, from my perspective, all these picks get on my nerves because it didn't address the positions that I felt that we should have been addressing. Wherever that might be. This guy might actually have the ability to beat out the person who's projected to be the starter. And if he comes out and he's starting, then I've got less of a problem with it. Because as you guys already know, I've been preaching it. Everything starts up front. So if it helps us to run the ball and keep the ball and keep the other team's offense sitting on the sideline and our defense sitting on the sidelines, I'm all for it because I can promise you, we're going to need that. We're going to be able to. We're going to need to be able to run the ball and sustain long drives by being able to push the pocket. And another guy that's going to come up later in these picks is going to be instrumental in that. So if he turns out to be the starter, I've got less of a problem with it. But everybody who was selected that ain't playing on defense, the defensive line, I've got a problem with it.
Yeah. Logan Jones seemed to be the guy that they were leaning toward. There was him and Jake Slaughter was a similar scheme fit for us. Neither one were ranked as the top centers, right? That was the kid out of Auburn and the kid that I had him down for,
Sam Heck.
Sam Heck, who
went unbelievably late
to Carolina, but I think that it was probably the right call because Slaughter went at 63. So in a perfect world, I think Gabe Akers falls 2 spots to 57, and we do that. I mean, I think they would have probably done that, and then got Jones at 60, but we traded back out of 60 after that. But Slaughter, the other center that was a fit for us, went at 63. So I don't think there was a lot of play there. I think that that was probably true value for Jones, maybe a little high, but maybe 2 or 3 spots. Nothing too egregious. We had some egregious high stuff, but this pick wasn't it. So anyway, but when Akers went, that was really the end of the quality defensive lineman, edge or interior. that
Mhm.
that was still on the board.
So let's move on to pick 3, and this I'll bring out our boys' comments. Darren connects. Before we let me read this off. I still can't believe we did not address defensive line the first 3 to 4 picks. I believe you. I hear you, man. Why pick a tight end so early? That's where we're about to get to. And it also means Kmet might not be here longer, which is true. We did renegotiate with him draft day morning, but we had to free up money for
this draft class.
Yes. So Sam Roush, this is where on social media, I was on social media watching the draft and watching Twitter. A lot of people lost their shit on this pick.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we drafting a third tight end when we didn't address the defensive line?
Right.
So Chicago Clarence, I know you're the most hot over this one. Go ahead.
I mean, I echo those same comments. Why? I threw the remote when they announced this guy's name. Couldn't freaking believe it. Now, it wasn't on the level that it was when we drafted Mitchell Trubisky. That's an all-timer for me. But
he was turned over a table, ladies and gentlemen.
I didn't understand it. And even if we run 12 and 13 personnel, okay, I get that. You know, this guy is going to replace Smythe. Fine.
Right.
You know, we all know that Smythe was a horrible blocker. You know, if this is going to help improve our run game, well, we still reached. We could have got this guy later.
I don't hate this one as much as the next one, and I don't hate the next one. I just think we were really, really high on that. So the one good thing we did was trade back before. Like, we didn't take Roush at 60. We didn't take him in the second round, so we traded back, got a little capital for it.
Right.
So there's a little bit of a saving grace there. I think that I think it could spell the end eventually of Kmet. But I don't think that'll be this year.
No, because we basically guaranteed his
right, and depending and I didn't see the numbers how they structured that. But if they did that right, you know, that make him easier to move going forward.
I think $5 million next year he's guaranteed.
Yeah, so that makes them real movable. So
and also makes them real keepable. That's not a real.
Yeah,
word,
no,
I don't necessarily think that this spells the end of it. You know, this offense, you guys think about it, it's looking more and more like the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
The only thing we're missing right now is a stud running back and a stud wide receiver. I think that they still have that over us. But he loves these tight ends.
Yeah.
Being able to block and catch, and Kmet's not a great blocker. He should be a better blocker with the body he has, but he's not great at it, but he ain't terrible. He wasn't terrible like Smythe is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to get a pick swap for Kmet. So I take $5 million off the board, but then I got to go pay $1.5 million to another blocking tight end. So what's the point in that? Let's just keep the guy. I mean, it makes sense. Right? I'm not for making that.
Makes sense.
But look, if he's he's a good a blocker as they say he is, then that's going to help the running game a lot. And if he can learn how to be a decent pass catcher, I think he's okay. I don't think
pretty good already.
Yeah. So I mean, if that's our 3 tight ends, then if this kid's as good as I say he is, it's a solid tight end room. I mean, as good as anybody in the league, I would imagine, as far as the total room. So just Loveland's top 5.
So last year, just throw some numbers at you. Ben Johnson ran 12 personnel, the 6th highest rate in the NFL. Yeah. And he ran 13 personnel, the 13th highest rate. Yeah. He was in the 5% range. So apparently, what they're saying is these offensive coordinators, this is their fix. This is their counterattack to the 2 deep safety look. How do you beat 2 deep safety? You attack them underneath and intermediate routes.
So what receiver are you leaving out there in 13? I'm leaving the one that'll block. I'm leaving Luther Burden out there. That's what I'm doing. That kid will block his ass off.
Yeah. I mean, you can leave any receiver out there.
Yeah, but
13.
He's the better we got. So,
but I mean, the NFL.
No, not at 13. Right.
It's hard to believe that the NFL will be moving to 13, but the Rams ran 13 a lot. They ran it the most. And look at the success they had.
So next year we get the running back and we get to our additional running back and we get to fix the defensive line because we'll have more money because we'll be rid of those 2 free agent contracts.
Yeah. So when they made the pick on Roush, I was pretty pissed off. I thought after Thieneman, after Jones, this is going to be defense.
Mhm.
We're finally going to go defense. And then when we went Roush, I'm like, we really just went a third tight end. Like I was shocked by that one.
Yeah.
So that leads us to the next pick. And Todd, I'll let you kick this one off.
Look,
Xavier Thomas.
the
Now,
straight
this one-
flyer here. The kid is ridiculous fast, but you know, I've heard hands of stone. You know, so and even Poles was talking about, you know, well, let's get him set up in the return game, and we'll talk about receiver later. We don't really need another body as receiver, but 4.28 is a 4.28, right? So
You can't teach speed.
I wouldn't have done it at this point. Not that there's anybody that I'm jumping up and down to. Let's see who was on the board. Let's see, this is 4th round. I mean, let me look at real quick here. We take it.
So after us,
I
that
think
was third round.
there's just nobody. I'd say this 3rd round is it. Daryl Jackson Jr. I think probably I would have done, and then tried to maybe get him with others. But at least he's a defensive. He was a 3-tech or nose that had some push. I would probably have done that.
Barnum,
the
defensive end.
that went to the Cowboys from Michigan. You know, he's probably not ideal weight, but you're not going to get that this late in the draft anyway.
No.
So there's a couple of guys I would have definitely taken over him here, and still probably had a shot at him. But this just was, I think, and Caleb Proctor. That's another one. Grayson Holton was still
I
on the
liked
board.
him a lot.
Yeah, so I mean,
Proctor.
there's
Holton.
several players I would have taken over this kid. But you know, they made up for a little bit getting Malik Muhammad. Well, I'm pushing again.
Yeah.
But there was interior linemen on the board that would have been better than this pick, because I still think you could have got this kid later.
So Chicago Clarence, I'll pivot to you. Xavier Thomas. The positive things is about you cannot teach speed. 4.28. He's a blazer. He's fast. He improves our return game right away. But the problem I have is ESPN has him ranked at 222, and we grabbed him at 89.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could have argued, you could have waited on this guy, maybe even signed him in free agency. Like, what do you think of this pick right then, right there?
I don't know about you guys, but this gives me a Velus Jones vibes.
Yeah.
Because that's what I immediately thought about Velus Jones when they called this guy's name. Because they were drafted for the same reasons, to upgrade our special teams.
I don't think Ben would take a guy who has Velus Jones' hands. I think he would pass.
So this guy doesn't have great hands either.
I don't know. This one I did.
I mean, what's the use of drafting a guy who can catch a 5-yard out and turn it into a 50-yard completion if you got to worry about him dropping the ball? So that's what I worry about now.
Speed.
But Velus Jones was fast. Not maybe as fast as this guy, but Velus Jones was fast. And I was one of the guys who was excited about it. Why? Because our special teams was so putrid. Now, our special teams wasn't as bad, but we had to replace Duvernay.
Yeah,
that's the reason why we took this guy. We took him early. I get that. But at the end of the day, it gives me Velus Jones vibes. I hope it works out.
So in 2006, I remember watching that draft. I don't know what you guys were doing. I'm a little older than you. But anyway, we took a guy who really didn't have position and was fast and was a good returner. And I remember Michael Irvin just laughing at the pick, saying, well, this is a little early, guys, but he'll be able to return some kicks for you. And he got a gold jacket last year. So,
yeah.
So you know.
Xavier, yeah, Devin Hester.
I mean, but there was a difference. There was a difference, you know, because we tried to make him a wide receiver 1.
Yeah, no, I know. But you know, but we drafted him where we drafted him. We drafted him because of the return skills, and this is why we drafted this kid. And this is Ben Johnson all day to me. I don't think that Ryan Poles had anything to do with this pick.
I mean, like I said, our return game is better because you cannot teach speed.
Right.
I mean, he's a deep threat. He's a home run hitter. Like the ball's in his hands. I expect to see him in the backfield, the slot. I expect to see him everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, there
Todd,
were other picks
Go ahead.
that upset me more than that one because, special teams play such a big role in
It does.
football games on whether you win or lose. I mean, I can remember the game we played against Minnesota. If Duvernay, doesn't get that ball up to the 45-yard line, maybe that game
Yeah.
might have went a different way.
Right.
So
No,
you
there was
need,
big plays. There was big plays.
yeah, you need special teams making big plays, and that guy has the capabilities. I just hope it works out. I hope we're not sitting here screaming at letting him go like we were with Felix Jones. I mean, we were ready to run his behind out of town.
Well,
He was so bad.
Yeah, and they brought in Khalif Raymond to do the same job too. So maybe between the two,
I mean, Felix Jones has a Super Bowl ring now, but
he does. He does.
So Todd,
Still.
since
He drove me crazy, man.
Todd,
Bayless
since you
drove
said
me
his name
crazy.
first,
Yeah,
I'll
this
let
was
you.
this
this-
was rock. This was rock solid.
This is a steal.
He competes right now with my guy Stevenson. I mean, I it's nobody's job, and if he wins it, good for him. That was a rock solid pick.
This is a steal. Overall rank of 65. We got him at 124. This was a steal. He shouldn't have been on the board. We should have taken him and then taken Xavier Thomas, honestly.
Yeah.
To make sure we got Muhammad.
Yeah, If
That
you
should have
switch
been
those,
flipped.
then
Yeah.
then
Then they make a little more sense.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Clarence, I know you drafted Malik Muhammad in our draft show. What do you think
I
of Malik
did.
Muhammad? What do you
I'm
think
very
of him?
happy with this pick. Very happy with it. Totally.
Yeah.
Especially where we got him.
Because, again, I don't count on Terrell Smith and I don't count on Zaw Frazier. Both of these guys are missed the whole season. They're both returning from injuries. For the same reason I said about Shamar and Deo, I don't count on guys returning from injuries to contribute.
I'm interested to see what Frazier can do, though.
And Frazier is a lot different. That's personal reason he wasn't injured. Let me be clear, but he still hasn't played a meaningful game now, almost 2 years.
Well, somebody pounded the table for him, and I want to see what he's got.
It was Al Harris, from what I heard, or from what everybody heard. I mean, he's got the size, he's got the speed. He should be an elite corner.
Yeah.
He played at a small school. So then, Todd, we went Keyshawn Elliott, linebacker, Arizona State.
Yeah.
I can see why we made this pick because Sewell could be out for a while, yet Edwards could be out for a while. So we are a little thin at linebacker.
Yeah, we need a third and a fourth linebacker, and he's got a chance to be one of those two guys. We'll see
and
what
he
happens.
should contribute to special teams right away.
Sure.
I mean, I like the pick. I mean, his depth could be a future starter one day if we move on from TJ Edwards.
Yeah, that could be relatively soon.
Clarence, you got anything to say about Elliott?
When I look at our linebacker core, the word that comes to mind is availability.
Right.
We struggle with that.
We
Yeah.
did.
I mean, we struggle with that. We can't. I don't know how we can play a game and not have any linebackers available. People coming off the street to play, practice squads. Credit to Dennis Allen for coaching him up. But who was that we were playing
down to our fifth and sixth linebackers? And TJ Edwards is making a good change. And this guy's always hurt.
Yeah, we re-signed Edwards last year, didn't we? That was one of the ones that's gonna.
Yes.
Yeah, he's with us through 2008.
I mean,
He's with us.
I remember
this
what
year.
game was it? We were down to Hippolyte and Alonzo Jackson. That's when we found out Alonzo can play football.
Yeah.
That changed everything. His dead cap in 27 is 2.3. So
and we were using
he's
Akban,
got 1 year with us.
and we had Akban on the field as a starting linebacker a couple games. Yeah, our linebacking core was hit pretty hard with injuries last year.
Yeah, DeMarco Jackson, we're leaning on him pretty heavy, but he came through, and we re-up Sanborn. That's right. So
yeah,
we got 4 or 5
Plenty
guys
of
fighting for 2 spots.
Yeah. So Chicago, Clarence, final round 6. We finally added to the defensive line, and Jordan Vanderberg, defensive tackle, Georgia Tech, 6'3", 300 pounds. ESPN had him rated as the 298th best player available.
Yeah.
We got him at 213.
Yeah.
So what do you think of Jordan Vandenberg?
The guy can play. Georgia Tech had a very nice defensive line. He's a guy that he's a worker. I don't think he has crazy athletic ability.
No, he does.
I'm talking about as far as being able to beat 350-pound tackles one-on-one. I've yet to see that. And he played in the lowly ACC. So I don't know. I mean, I'm just going to have to wait and see what he's going to bring to the table. The thing that bothers me is this is the only guy we got to address our biggest need. And I think that, we don't sitting there and looking at him as, a diamond in the rough. That's rubbing on the genie bottle and hoping some smoke comes out, drafting this guy. And that's what bothers me. Ryan Poles is throwing stuff against the wall, and we got to hope it sticks. And I think that's what this pick is. I mean, he's a nice player, but, he should have been coupled with a few more picks at that line. That's what worries me.
Yeah, he's the lottery ticket pick, but he had a 10 out of 10 RAS score. He's a perfect RAS score. That's the reason they draft. They love that so much. The relative athletic score is and I mean I don't know. There was some production, but I mean how do you score?
He doesn't have
high?
any moves though, Todd. He doesn't have any go-to moves.
Well,
swim moves, being quick off the ball. He has none of that. Yeah.
Well, he can. I mean, he's probably practice squad, right? You got to figure, but
which is a bigger problem. Just because somebody looks good running around cones and shorts, don't make him the answer to one of your biggest needs.
But look, what we didn't do for decades was develop talent. This is a chance to develop a guy who's, the clay is there. You develop this guy, right? That's what you're supposed to do. So that's the job. So we'll see and this staff acknowledges that. So,
I mean, Ben Johnson's on record saying we need to coach him up better.
Yeah.
I mean, did anybody see his press conference?
I really and truly get all that, but I bring this up. It seems like all the time, the clock is ticking.
It is.
It's ticking, and you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
We're going to have to pay that dude.
Caleb
we don't
Williams.
got time to mess around because the moment his numbers hit our books, it limits our ability to improve our football team. And if you're not hitting on these picks, then you got to start all the way back over at key positions. And then you go from contender to pretender very fast. We don't have time to be playing around.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, so supposedly they're already working on it, so we'll see.
So here's the practice squad that got signed. The only two I'm going to point out is Jaden Loveling and the Vanilla Gorilla.
Yeah, you got to point out the Vanilla Gorilla. He got money. So.
And that's what I'm going to point out. Those two are probably going to be on the roster, on the practice squad. Jaden Loving, defensive tackle, Wake Forest, and Barnett, offensive line, Wyoming. They're guaranteed money. So those two guys are probably going to be on the practice squad.
Was it like 275,000?
Yeah, it's 277,000.
Yeah.
It's nothing great, but they still got guaranteed money.
I'll take it.
Yeah. So let me ask you guys something. The draft is over.
Yeah.
When we lost to the LA Rams versus today, are we a better team? Todd?
We're a faster team.
Yes, we are. Are we better, though? That's what you want to be, better.
Our key losses, I think maybe we talked about Frazier. We need maybe a little more versatility from DB, somebody that can fill in and play safety. I think we had probably better safety depth, but our defensive line is it's a push on the defensive line. Maybe we get a little bump if some players are able to play that were injured, and mainly Stewart. Linebacker, we we have more guys fighting for the same spot, so we probably have better depth there.
Right.
We're starting Braxton Jones probably. So
Is our cornerback room better? I think it is.
we added a player, so yeah, we lost safeties. We didn't really lose. Well, Nashawn Wright, but people, Nashawn's numbers were good.
So you think we're better or worse?
I
We're
think
better or worse?
I think we're not any worse, and we are faster.
Yeah.
And, Bush and linebacker we're better at linebacker. So yeah, we're a little bit better.
Champ, are we better or worse than we were when we lost to the Rams?
I think we're worse. A lot of production is going out the door. We wasn't willing to overpay for it, and I don't think that we should have. But we've got numbers that we've got to replace. And I'm talking particularly the turnovers that we were able to generate. That's not on this football team anymore. So now we're hanging our hat on people who were injured and people who we brought in. And as Todd said, one of the things that we are is we're faster, particularly at the linebacker position. And as we know, athletic quarterbacks give us problems because they're able to break containment. Why? Because we don't rush the passer well, number one. And number two, we had slow linebackers. So you improve those positions. You got another athletic, fast safety back there in the backfield. On the back end of the defense. So maybe we can improve there. But a lot of production left this football team in free agency, and we got to replace that before we can think about being better. And also, what you say about DJ Moore, he's not on this football team anymore either. So we've got to hopefully that Luther Burton can step in and take over that spot.
Yeah, well, that's true. We did lose EJ. I think that we have some depth vulnerability on offensive line. They managed to, other than Ozzie going out at the end of the season, they managed to stay pretty healthy last year.
They did.
And and we're not the youngest interior. Well, now the center position, we're young there now, but those two guards that we really leaned on last year, they've got to stay upright. I mean, they just have to.
I mean, I think this coaching staff, Caleb Williams is still going to ascend. Rome Odunze can ascend. Luther Burton is going to ascend.
Well,
Rollins can ascend.
Yeah, not even that they're better, but a second year in the same system, right?
Yes.
Where they're comfortable now.
Yes.
All those movement penalties coming into the season. The preseason was insane last year. A lot of those guys are back, and so they've got to be more comfortable. And I think that helps a lot.
So, guys, while we're talking about that, The Athletic this morning gave us the number 6 spot in the power rankings. And
Really?
This is post-draft. This is post-draft.
They're
taking the draft in consideration. You guys agree or disagree with this? We're number 6. They have Seahawks as 1. They have Seahawks as 1, Patriots as 2, Broncos as 3, 49ers as 4, the Rams as 5, and the Bears as 6. And they got Detroit and Green Bay is 13, 14. And then Minnesota is 19. You guys got to remember something. Minnesota won 9 games last year with shit production at quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
But Athletics has us as the 6th best team right now in the power rankings.
I mean, I guess they're obligated because it's the Super Bowl teams, but do you really think that the Patriots are number 2 in the power ranking?
I do not.
The Broncos lost their quarterback,
Mm-hmm.
and if that weren't the case, the Patriots would be probably behind us on this list. But I understand they were in the Super Bowl, so they're there.
But they didn't really lose anybody. They added pieces. They didn't really lose any pieces.
They're going to add A.J. Brown, too.
Yes. So. And Denver's 3.
Yeah.
49ers are 4. The Rams, what do you think of Ty Simpson? We're all bitching about this draft. You're talking about drafting, like, that was a weird pick.
Yeah, was it the owner?
Off the record here, but
yeah. Was it the owner or was it the GM that knew the dad and said, "Yeah, come on out." I don't think that McVay had anything to do with that pick. I I just,
I mean, your quarterback was the MVP last year, and you're drafting his predecessor already.
I don't think it was. Look, it was a gift that they got of the trade from the Falcons, but still, you're sitting there and you're this close to a championship team.
You need to add a
And
piece, not a backup quarterback.
Yeah, no, I know. So, and honestly, he's probably going to be third string at least coming into the season. So
here's the gift that is finally done giving. After all the trades and the picks we flipped, there's the final return on the Bryce Young.
I disagree with this. I mean, I know that because, like, if we were to move Darnell, does it bring it? I mean, it was done before, but I get why they're doing it. But
yeah,
that's
what we got for Bryce Young when we were done flipping our picks and moving our picks around and drafting. That is the haul we got.
You can't count DJ if the players that we got for trading DJ. Well, it says for 4. I guess it says for 3 years.
Yeah, I mean we acquired DJ Moore, so we flipped DJ Moore.
That's true, but yeah, no, it was like it was an amazing trade.
It was for sure. I mean, it was the greatest trade of all time, wasn't it?
It's up there, yeah, for sure.
The greatest trade of all time.
That Herschel Walker thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Herschel Walker was pretty good.
Yeah. That netted 3 Super Bowls. So
yeah. Anyway, that's
anything else you guys can think of real quick?
I don't know. You guys want to talk about stadium? I don't want to talk about that. Do you?
I mean, the stadium, it's kind of passed. It's kind of looking like it's going to stay in Illinois.
Yeah,
the vote went in our favor. I think Indiana was just a bluff.
Always, but
Indiana got used.
But hey, you got to play the game. If you're Indiana, you still do the same thing, right? If there's a chance.
Yeah. So guys, let's head into our final thoughts. I don't know. I feel about the draft. I mean, we added players. We definitely added players with talent. There's no question. Did we add the right players to get to where we want to go, which is the Super Bowl?
We
didn't address our weakness, which is the pass rush and the run stop. We didn't.
Yeah, it's not what we did; it's what we didn't do. Really, I mean, we overpicked a tight end by maybe a dozen spots, and we overpicked a kick returner by maybe 50 spots. But that's not that big a deal. But not getting somebody to at least shore up the run or somebody that can bring pressure. That was the number one thing we needed to do going in. But I still think that I think that we should have probably been aggressive in trying to move up in the middle of the second round to get.
What are you guys going to say in midseason for game 8 or 9, and we got the same problem? We can't get to the freaking quarterback. We haven't gotten to the quarterback since Ryan Poles clocked in on day 1. We haven't.
Running Sweat, he had a good half season. That was like his best season. But
that defense wasn't that bad.
No.
No.
Defense during Poles' regime.
It became a top 10 defense.
Yeah.
And we ain't had a defense that's good since that. But to answer your question, Andy, our shows are going to be very, very entertaining because I'm going to lose my mind every single week. You guys know how I get when I'm preaching about something and I turn out to be right.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean everybody saw that as the glaring need, except for them, I guess. But I think should have been when everything was going. Either they didn't care about any of those players, but when everybody in the second round was starting to fall off the board, you had some ammunition there to go up and get somebody. And and Zion Young was the guy that was projected to us a bunch, and he hung out there again till the Ravens. Which the year before we were screaming, they should have taken Mike Green and he went to the Ravens and, but that doesn't always pan out. But I think that Young would have been pretty solid on the other end of the line and we could have made a move up, but I just don't think he was ever really on their board.
I don't really know who was on their board for defensive line.
No.
Obviously, nobody because they didn't get anybody.
Well, that Vandenberg kid.
Yeah. I mean, they didn't get anybody to help the defensive line, really.
Right.
I mean, Vandenberg, at best, he makes the team as a rotation piece this year, at best. So,
Yeah.
anyway,
No,
go ahead, Todd.
I think he needs a practice squad for a year, So I guess maybe there's somebody on cut down day, or maybe there's a free agent out there still worth entertaining if it's not a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it.
So as always, everybody, thank you for watching. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the feedback. You can find us on Facebook, X, Twitch, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. My final thoughts is I'm ready for the season. I know the next big event will be in May when they do the schedule release. There's no firm date for that, but that'll probably be our next show because
we got to buy tickets to Charlotte.
Yes, we do. So Todd, what are your final thoughts?
Hey, my Orlando Magic. Clarence gonna laugh at me. Yes, me and my basketball team was. I lived in Orlando for many years before I moved up here, and we have the number 1 seed Pistons on the rope. So I'm excited about that. So anyway, that's
So
we get excited about.
Bad guy, Chicago Clarence. What are your final thoughts?
Let's talk about baseball and my first place Atlanta Braves.
Oh Jesus! Yeah, he didn't want to talk about them last week when they weren't in first place and the Cubs were. And the Cubs were
let's talk about baseball at my first place Atlanta Braves, the only team in Major League Baseball to not have lost a series yet. The only one.
They haven't played the Cubs yet, right, Todd?
No, I don't think they have. But yeah, that's it. I mean, it was the Bobby Cox thing, Win every series, you win it all, right? That makes sense.
And we are doing this missing key players. I mean, well, Ronald Acuna is playing, but he ain't playing well. He played in the World Baseball Classic, and typically when you people play in the offseason, they have slow starts, and he hasn't kicked it into high gear yet. Jurickson Profar, second year in a row, gets caught PEDs, and now he's suspended for the whole year. That was our starting left fielder, and who was supposed to be the guy who was going to be batting leadoff. Don't have him. One of our best pitchers, Spencer Strider, hasn't played yet. He's probably one rehab start away from coming back. Swellenbach, another key guy in the rotation, hasn't played yet. So we're doing all of this missing key contributors. So I can only imagine. And we have a rookie manager with Walt Weiss getting a call because of I forget my guy who left and just retired. But the Braves, they're playing really, really well, and I'm happy with what I'm seeing right now. The offense, the defense is in the top 10. They've got 2 guys right now that's in the early MVP talk. So, and they got one of the best pitching staffs and bullpens. So all the makers of a championship baseball team. They just got to keep it going because it's a very long season.
It is.
So Todd, how are our Cubs going to get back on track? We won 10 games, go out to California, and it falls apart.
Yeah,
we need pitchers again, man.
Yeah, they're dropping like flies. So
yeah,
but at least they came out of. I mean, first 2 weeks of the season,
it looked bad,
god awful. So
yeah,
but it's a long season. We'll find Clarence in the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't want
that.
That
would be ugly. That would be ugly.
Y'all do not want that smoke.
It's an easy ride to Atlanta. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that I like about Walt Weiss that Brian Snitker didn't do when he was managing is Walt Weiss doesn't wait before he goes out there and pulls you out or make changes. And you guys know it. I mean, it doesn't matter which sport. A lot of times these managers and coaches, they get too dependent on one player because they love them and whatnot, and they don't go out there and pull them out. Our second guy in our rotation was getting nailed by the Washington Nationals, and Walt Weiss went out there in the second inning and pulled him simply because he didn't like his mechanics. He didn't like what he was seeing. He gave up 4 runs in the second inning, and that Snitker wouldn't have done that. Snitker would have let him stay in there. And so he'll figure it out. Like if he was Greg Maddux or Tom Glavine, and Walt Weiss he's quick with the hook if he doesn't like what he's seeing, and I like that.
Well, guys, again, thank you for
All right.
watching. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, bear down. Peace out.
Bear down. Go Magic.